Here I have a recording of bass guitar. Let's hear it with the Freqtube bypassed. What I want to do this time is add a little bit of a buzziness to the sound, as though it's coming through a loudspeaker and the diaphragm is a little bit torn or dented. So let's play it through and I'll flick the bypass in and out. The bypass is active when it's lit up like that, so here we go. So that's what I've got. It's a fairly subtle effect, but you can hear it. So the controls we've got here are the drive, and I've pressed in the plus 18 dB button so we can get as much drive as we want. And I can guarantee you there is too much available if that's what you really want to do. The parallel filter works on the dry signal, and I've got it set to high pass, as we can see here, and the frequency is 1340. And it's a bit odd that I can't see the frequency until I change the control, but that's the way we are. And on the signal that's going through the tubes, this is the primary filter, and I've got this set to low pass, 12 decibels per octave, and the frequency is round about the same. It's not really all that critical. And I've got the E83cc vacuum tube. As I've tried the Freqtube on different sound sources, this seems to be my favourite. So we've got two E83cc's and two 12AT7s. The harmonics control, if we had a sine wave input, this is what the waveform would look like, and this is a representation of the harmonics. So something like that. And down here we have the very important analog mix control, where it goes all the way from dry, and this goes through the filter, so it's not the original sound, it's the filtered sound, all the way to wet at the other side. So I'm going to go through these controls and see what they do for us. I did say there was too much drive there if you want it. Let's tone it down a bit. Okay, that's not quite where I was before, but it's quite acceptable to me. I'll leave the filters where they are. Let's change the tubes over. You might see a green banner pop up here, but we can just ignore that. It's because of the screen recording software, so there's not a lot I can do about that just at the moment. Okay, the 12AT7, it just sounds a little bit edgier to me, which in some circumstances that might be what I want. Let's try the harmonics control. It's just fatter on this side, and I do like it, so I'll leave it there on 23. Now, the analog mix, this is going to be important because it really does affect the sound. Obviously, because we've got these filters here, then it's affecting the degree of filtering. So if we're all the way to the dry end, we're only going to get those high frequencies. Conversely, if we're all the way to the wet end, we're only going to get those lower frequencies. So bear that in mind as well, because as well as the harmonic balance that we're getting a frequency balance as well. Okay, I'm liking that just for now. What I'll do now is I'll play through the track and I'll flick the bypass in and out. I'll start with the Freqtube out. So there we have it, the Freqtube on bass guitar.